Podcast, WATP.
So Stuttering John is back on Cameo again. And thank you to Dabblers Anonymous for posting this one, because John, it's getting to him. He's not enjoying himself.
Hey, Carrie. This is the world-famous Stuttering John, who you're ultimately obsessed with, much like the rest of your ilk. Now, you're a really ugly person inside, and because I know what...
Thanks for the $56, by the way. Holy shit. We're off to a good start. John's obviously getting laid all the time and loving life, like he's been telling us. You can tell.
Because I know what you look like on the outside, it certainly matches what's on the inside. You can see it on my Twitter at Stuttering John M. You are one fugly bastard. Anyway, you want to say, well, Drunky, since abject poverty has driven you back to Cameo, well, that's interesting, since I've been doing Cameo for about 10 years now when it first came out.
Okay.
And then I just rediscovered it after I left the Dabbleverse.
I mean, you're not being honest with yourself now, John. Just because you already failed at this one time doesn't mean that, oh, holy shit, what was that thing I used to do? That's right, Cameo. Okay.
But maybe you could address this another Valentine's Day has come and gone. What happa to your Costa Rican and Vietnamese girlfriends? Well, Costa Rican, it was 3 girlfriends ago, and the Vietnamese was about 5. Unlike you, Carrie, I'm good looking enough to, well, let's just say bed down the ladies.
Ugh. Why try and be coy about it?
He's good looking enough to bed down the ladies. What's hilarious about this is that he talks about, he's bragging about these girlfriends before, and now he's saying, oh my God, I've had plenty of girlfriends since then. But he also just recently announced that he christened his Cape Coral bed. He finally got laid for the first time. So when you're in your late 50s, what is having a girlfriend if there's no sex involved?
No life at all. And
I mean, that's not a girlfriend. That's my point. Like, don't brag about having a girlfriend if she wants nothing to do with your penis.
He did announce that his new girlfriend was a lawyer, so I'm just going to stay quiet because
right.
I know I know that's true, and if she has his back the way I know she does, she's going to be involved in a lot of litigation. I just don't want to be on the receiving end of that.
Anyway, what happened with Kate Meany? Oh, that's right. She humiliated you again. Well, she's a very sick individual, but then again, that's pretty obvious judging by any interview she does. And you're saying I haven't seen any gay sheesh in a decade. And you're calling me a bum loser. Well, who's the bigger loser? The loser or the loser that's paying him $78 to record this? Thank you, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Anyway.
That's not his exact quote. I've watched Star Wars a few times. That's not precisely what he said there.
Why does he look like
this? By the way, I just want to say to Carrie, who sent this in, I love everything that you've written into this Cameo request. This is fantastic. And what's that, Adam?
No, he looks like a little orphan shoe shine boy, clean your chimney sweep, and like he's wearing his older brother's leftover clothes that he pulled out of the dumpster.
He's like a hobo from the 30s.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't exist in our world anymore. He's like, he just jumped off the train into the next town.
Yeah, he takes off his seatbelt and he has his bindle stiff and his stick and he's just riding the rails.
Yeah, this is so crazy.
And when he started speaking, he sounds like he hadn't said a word to anyone all day long, and that was the first time. It was like, hey, how you doing?
And he's so fired up. Like, he had to get off YouTube because everyone beat him. He lost in the Dabbleverse. Like, he couldn't take it anymore. And he got tired of reading all these insulting super chats. And so he thought he'd go to Cameo and there'll be some insults, but whatever. It's more money and it won't be as frequent. And you could tell this is getting to him because he comes out and goes, hey, fucko, you're fucking ugly. Go screw. Okay, we're off to a good start here.
Hey, no, I've been getting laid on a regular basis. But that is known as projection, Carrie, because judging by your looks, You probably haven't seen the gay sheesh.
So you're going to tell me that this 7-year-old lesbian is getting laid on a regular basis?
Yeah, he looks like Pete Rose right there.
He thinks he has the same number of accomplishments, so there's that.
Yep.
Since you came out of your mom's ugly womb.
Jesus.
Anyway.
Can wombs be ugly? Out of her ugly womb. Okay.
This is Stuttering John saying, yeah.
Good stuff, John.
Well, Andy was right. He turned into a monster.
He really did. Yes, Andy called it before anyone else, I'm pretty sure.
Of course, he has to list all the insults in their entirety, just in case anyone missed them. You know, we can't see the insults,
right.
So we only know because you tell them, and you
gotta
know
give him
we're
his
gonna
money's
see.
worth. I don't want any chargebacks on this.
Bum loser. I love it.
Yeah.
He has this weird kind of, I don't know, I guess Aaron has it too. They think as long as they can prove that they were in on the embarrassment, they are not embarrassed.
Right.
Like the older kid runs over and like pulls your pants down and everyone laughs and you go around explaining to everyone that it's fine, you're not embarrassed because you told them all to do that and they planned it in advance and then we timed it out to happen. That just makes
I
you
would have worn a
insane.
belt if I didn't want that to happen. I purposely
come on.
didn't tie
Yeah.
my drawstring so that would happen. Duh.
So weird. So
Joke's
the
on
whole Kate
you.
Maney thing, every time he defends it, it's just like, what are you talking about? Like, you proving that you might have suspected this is happening only makes it worse that you fell for it, not
Correct.
absolve you of it.
All right, so John did a show December 31st, and it was his last show ever, and it was 5 hours long, maybe 5.5. And he got very drunk. And he had a lot of guests on, including ClayDabbler. And I've only scratched the surface of it. I've been playing clips here and there. I put together a whole package for Point Dabble Point, but then Ricky Melton had so much to say, I didn't really get to much of it. So I have some clips that I want to play from John's last ever podcast, his last ever, what was the name of the show? Hypocrisy Police? Or was it just the Stuttering John podcast at that point? Who even knows? He's not good with branding, this guy. But, of course, VTM is fucking with him and sending Grubhub to his house. And so let's join John as he has to get up to answer the door.
What are they going to
Yeah,
do?
but there's nothing as interesting. That's the problem. Who else is there that's as interesting as...
All right. Yeah, hold on
Ethan Klein is the answer we found out today.
a second, because now I'm getting pissed.
We've got to be quiet now, Jerry, or else we piss off all the fans.
Yeah, we got to listen to what he tells the person at the door.
Right.
So, yes. Sometimes it's...
Vincent? Yeah, I did not want to ban him until I feel comfortable. But you did. I just knocked gently because Bill, he wasn't answering the bell.
Well, I said, is it saying don't ring the doorbell?
I didn't want to ban him, sir. That's all.
Yeah, next time if someone has their house don't want any problems. Fucking hell, man. Like, this fucking troll Vince. You know,
Did he
like,
pay for it again?
but still, I don't want it. He's disrupting my show.
He's spoiling you on your last show.
Yeah, and hold on, is there any mayonnaise on this?
Oh my God.
You got the link, you fucking little bald dwarf. Oh, what's he got you a sandwich? It looks like some cheap petrol garage sandwich.
Right, Burger King chicken sandwich. He knows I like that.
Oh, okay.
So John was screaming at the Grubhub delivery guy. There's a sign on the door to not ring the doorbell. And of course, Vince knows that. So Vince writes in the notes, there's going to be a sign at the door. Ignore it. We need you to come in. They've been getting prayed by other people. We want this chicken sandwich from Burger King. So John's screaming at the guy, the next time you come here, don't ring the doorbell. It says, don't ring the doorbell. You won't get that guy again, John. Don't worry. And he encourages this behavior by freaking out, flipping out, and then immediately being rewarded with it and eating on camera. These are all the things Vince wants to have happen when he sends these things.
Yeah, he was talking about how much of a interruption and disruption this was while he was tearing it open
Yes.
and about to take a bite of it.
And making sure
He
that it was
needs
made
this.
to his liking. All right, they prepared it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then not too long after that, he says this.
John's address has been out forever.
Who cares?
John, who cares if people come to my house? his address is out there. Zach Hoffman is going, yeah, by the way, Rocco gave out your address today, so expect more deliveries. John goes, who cares? John, you literally have a sign on your door that says, don't ring the doorbell, and then you yell at the guy for ringing the doorbell. You care. It's very obvious.
There was an episode of the Howard Stern show where they have the other guy, Stuttering Vic, in there with John, and I'm listening to this, and at some point the show cuts out and comes back, and Howard has to explain that he did it because John kept pressing Stuttering Vic to talk about this girl he has a crush on, and he wouldn't, and John kept pushing him to say the name, and I guess finally he did say the name, and Howard had to dump it because you can't do that on the radio. He was doxing people even then, and the way he handled it was exactly, oh, come on, oh, nobody, oh, come on, what's the big deal? It's only a big deal when it happens to him. He knows and has known way before the Dabbleverse that you're not supposed to do that, and he doesn't care.
Oh, he loves it. And that's interesting that he was weaponizing it even back then in order to win the argument.
Yeah, and it was all under the guise of stop being, such a loser. What are you afraid of? Man up. Just give the name. Who cares? He knows what he's doing. He was threatened by that guy, and he did not want things to go well for him.
What I love about this episode is that ClayDabbler, he's a smart guy. And he knows why people pick on John and what they say about John. He's paying attention to all of this. And Clay will get his shots in, especially on the last show ever. What has he got to lose? John saying, I'll never come back again. Clay's like, good, I can finally tell you how I really feel about you. And here's an example where they're talking about when John went to Patrick Melton's house.
Welcome.
And so I wanted to film John, and it was funny. And John performed, man. He did comedy.
Yeah.
It was fucking funny. I still laugh at that, and people still laugh at it and watch it.
It was a moment in Dabble history.
Even Pinky was watching that laughing.
Yeah,
one of the
everyone
best
was
moments.
laughing, especially when you started shaking your arms, man.
Yeah. There was that bit where you looked like you bent over weirdly. They said because you had a girdle on.
Yes.
Well, he was
I
picking up
think
that boom box,
The,
which I
the
still
boot.
have.
Yeah. I think he was being careful. Yeah, I think he was being careful with the hemorrhoids.
It's a movie called Say Anything.
So John pretends to not understand what he's saying, pretends to misinterpret what's going on. It's like, hey, remember when you bent over awkwardly and everyone was laughing at you and it looked like you were wearing a girdle? It's like, no, it was a boombox. No, I'm talking about the girdle you were wearing, so you didn't look so fat. It wasn't as embarrassing for you.
And in Say Anything, he's holding that boombox up to win back the love of his life. What are you doing, John?
I never understood that. I don't know why that was his strategy for this. This is how dumb John is. When John talks about movies he likes, he doesn't understand why he likes them. He doesn't understand the message of it. He doesn't understand what makes them entertaining. He's so stupid. Film school graduate, according to him.
Right. He can't even quote a movie.
No. As Obi-Wan said, go fuck yourself.
And what did he say? From Scent of a Woman, hoorah. Or
Yeah. Whatever it was. Not even close. He just watched it, too. So John, his number is doxed, but he turns that into gold.
No, just everyone's like I guess they dox my number.
Oh, you're getting calls and texts, are you?
Hi, Johnny. This is the missionary. Huh?
Wanted to give you a call and see how you're doing. We would love to maybe set up a time to come by and
Hey, watch one. Hold on.
Is that an outreach?
Yeah.
Come on, John. You got this.
Hi, John. These are
Come on. You got this, Johnny. You can do it.
Jesus.
Remember the Trump call? You got this.
It's like the Samaritans.
Oh.
Hi, John. These are the sister missionaries for the Church of Jesus Christ. We just wanted to give you a call and see how you're doing. We would love to maybe set up a time to come by and talk with you about church and just help you understand some of our beliefs, and we can hear some of yours. If that's something that you're interested in, just give us a call back at this number. It's 239-888-6395. Have such a great rest of your day, and remember that God loves you.
Oh, dear. Doxed. Send her a text back.
Hey, it don't matter. God loves me. It don't matter.
Yeah.
No, God loves me.
God loves everyone.
She just said God loves me. Hey, Clay, your mom's box. Life isn't
Your
going
mom's
to get
box.
better for you.
So John got a voicemail and then played it as if that was owning the trolls.
And then embarrassed
Carl, you didn't
himself.
see the funny faces he was doing. You didn't see the funny faces he was doing?
Oh,
That was the joke.
I saw them, Adam. They were not great. You know,
Burned.
Shuley has this thing on the Uncle Rico show where they have this overlay, this filter where he looks like an ape. He was making those faces. I'm like, is that the filter that Shuley uses? Or is that John's actual face? Now a super chat comes in and asks him about, hey, do you ever regret the fact that you came after WATP really hard and it started this whole thing?
Thanks for the fiver. It's wild to think that if you'd taken WATP's joke as helpful feedback back then, things could have been so different. Instead, here you are spiraling. Spiraling? You know how much money I made doing this, you dumb fuck? Clay, why don't you tell me how much I made doing this?
You made 100K, 92K this year, probably close to 100 now.
No,
but Lady K, it's not constructive criticism, is it? He's taking the piss. So what should John just say nothing?
We actually gave very good constructive criticism of that episode that we listened to. But John, his big own on this one is just like, what are you talking about? I made $100,000 doing this show. This is the last show where he's leaving the Dabbleverse, and he always says, I don't need the money. It's not about the money. But then when he wants to brag, he's like, no, I made a lot of money off of being the punching bag for the whole Dabbleverse, which is a weird flex in and of itself.
And the sheer audacity of poking his unpaid employee with a stick and making him go out there and talk about how rich his boss is just so cruel.
Clay,
and he loves it.
Tell him how much money I made, because obviously I tell you that. Because he's even bragging in private conversations. He can't stop himself from doing that. And I did play this on Point Devil Point, but I want to play it again because something comes out here that's very interesting.
Let's see. I made almost 96,000.
Yeah, but like I said, is that from the beginning of your streams or
Like I said, I only came back. It was like a year and a half.
So John is looking in YouTube, and you can go in the analytics, and you can see how much money you've made. And he goes, 96,000, pretty impressive, right? And Clay goes, yeah, but that's not just this year. John's like, well, no, but I haven't been back that long. I guarantee that goes back to his political show. That's all time, $96,000, which, listen, any creator who can make $96,000, I think that's very impressive. I don't think you should quit your day job, especially if you're only making that over 5 or 6 years on YouTube. Probably not a good source of primary income. But in John's world, that's a win for him for some reason. Him and Kevin Brennan both have this weird thought that nobody else makes money on YouTube but them. It's crazy because most of the people that I watch are making more money than John and Kevin Brennan doing what they do.
And he's bragging that I made all that reading insults.
Right. Like, think about that, too. Like, all of the super chats are mostly clowning him and his family. And he has to read out loud. He's like, yeah, but 96,000, huh?
And it continues to this day with the cameos. He's like,
yeah,
you're the loser that paid me.
Right.
But he said this was all because of the toll it's taking on his family, his work, and his mental health.
Correct.
So he keeps removing everything except the part where he gets abused and it affects his mental health and his family and his jobs. Like, he fights back just enough to continue the war, but not enough to really capitalize on it or be in it.
Adam, it's like a bully's punching you in your face and you rip on him for having sores on their knuckles.
Right.
Afterwards, like the next day at school, you're like, oh, look at all the scabs you got on your knuckles from my cheekbones.
That's my face that did that, everybody. That's this. Right. That's this right here.
That's my face that did that, everybody. Right. Like, holy shit, dude. This is not the own that you think it is. You got beat, boy.
But Clay does this a lot. He's really good at it, and he's very subtle with it. He will push back in ways that either John can't immediately respond to or doesn't even understand. I saw the greatest back and forth between them that went kind of unnoticed. John says to him, and he puts his hand up like this, as if, wait, before you speak, look at the palm of my hand and listen to what I'm going to say. He goes, Clay, did you get those jokes I sent you? And Clay goes, jokes? What jokes? What the fuck are you talking about? I didn't get any jokes. John looks all frustrated. He's going, okay, I'll try again. Did you get the jokes I sent you? No, John, I didn't get any. The song lyrics. Did you get the song? Oh, the song lyrics. Yeah, I got those. Meaning he just sent him some song lyrics, but really wanted Clay to go with him on this. I'm writing and sending you jokes, aren't you? And Clay pretended to have absolutely no idea what he was talking about and not support him on that in a way that I don't think John caught.
Oh, shit. Which episode was that from? Was that from this episode?
Oh, I can't remember.
That's interesting.
I can't remember. But yeah, I'll find it.
Yeah, John expects you, if you're on his side, to go along and lie with him.
Yeah.
You got to go along with his lies and his warped sense of reality, or else you're an asshole.
We've seen him do it with Hitman Dan. Remember when he's like covering part of the screen and he's like, what do you see here, Dan? No, just up here. What do you see here? Tell everybody.
Yeah. Well, speaking of covering part of the screen, this is hilarious because John's all concerned that Clay's going to dock someone, and he panics, and I don't think this would have helped anyway.
You go.
All right, don't show the...
What are they going to do?
No, I was afraid it was somebody's number.
No, it's X.
Terry, thanks for the $5. You hear about the kid who ate himself to death in Connecticut? He was on.
Oh, this is another thing. So first, John thinks he's going to block what ClayDabbler's showing by putting his own hand up in front of the screen.
Oh my God!
Don't show that. Like that's a bad strategy for that. But then the other thing that's happening here is John thinks he knows who Penis Wrinkle is.
Yeah.
He's been trying to figure out what Penis Wrinkle is for a year and a half, and has come up with like 9 different people that Penis Wrinkle is, and every time he finds out he was wrong. But now he's convinced this guy is Terry. And so he's going to let him know that he knows.
Terry, thanks for the $5. You hear about the kid who ate himself to death in Connecticut? He was on lunch at his dead-end cell phone sales job, ate until it exploded. Look up Tom Survey. Good. Thanks, Terry.
So John's like saying that like, hey, thanks, Terry. Like, I know who you are. And thank God that Clay calls him out on this.
Yeah, but what makes you so sure, John?
I know who it is.
You knew it was Stuart.
Yeah.
And another name before that. You thought it was some celebrity that you used to know.
Yeah. Maybe I'm getting played again. I don't care. I'm leaving anyway. Who gives a fuck?
I mean, that's the biggest tell from John. I don't care and who gives a fuck. As soon as those things come out, he's defeated. He got beat. And that happened right there where Clay goes, yeah, I mean, you thought he was this person. You thought he was that person. You thought he was Shuley for a while. He thought he's a lot of different people. And so he's like, no, now I know it's Terry. And Clay's like, you probably don't, though.
You don't hear that defeated sound from him too often.
I know. All right. Yeah.
He kind of trailed off there.
Clay can put him in his place, which is nice because Rob Saul would never do this.
Nope.
Which is why Rob sucks.
And it just goes to show you that all those times where he's yelling and screaming and foaming at the mouth red over how hurt he is by what people have done to his family and children, that's not real. He's just performing. He thinks that's what, emotion looks like. Emotion looks like that, what he just did right there.
Right.
With the same look he had on his face when somebody said the Kate Meany tapes are coming back again, and he just got so small.
Deflated.
Yep. That's him.
So a super chatter comes on and talks about how, early in this episode, John called Shuley's dad. And it was a bitch move. And Clay thought it was a bitch move, which is nice.
I don't know. If you can't beat him, call his daddy on him. Oh.
That's what you're going to get now, John. They're all going to.
Well, he should have thought of that before he started doing some of the things he did to you.
Why the fuck would I give a shit? I mean, yeah, exactly, Chet. What this fucking prick has done to me, I'm gonna suddenly, how dare you call my daddy?
Yeah, we're not gonna bow down to what the dues payer wants. You know what I mean? We're gonna do what we want to do.
So John, I was gonna say masterfully, that's not the right word, but changed the entire point of that by saying like, hey, it's a bitch move to call a guy's dad to try to tell on him. And John quickly changes that into, oh, you don't like that I went after what Shuley didn't want me to do? Well, that's tough titties because Shuley's been saying shit about me. He's like, no, that wasn't the point of that at all.
Nope.
They were calling you out for being a little bitch, calling someone's daddy.
A pussy boy, if you
trying to get him
will.
in trouble.
It just goes to show you that he doesn't talk to anybody about this that's going to give him a real opinion, or he's just incapable of hearing it. Because you know, his argument as to why we're all so evil has to change so often. He forgets that the biggest argument and the first thing he would say used to be, they call my mom.
Right.
They call my mom.
Yep.
They call my mom. And I tried to talk to him about it. A lot of people have tried to talk to him about it. There's no one he has talked to about it that has said, well, if they're calling your mom, you got to call his dad. That's it. That's the only move. That's what you got to do. If you want this to end, John,
No
you
one's
really
giving
care
that
about your
advice.
kids and your mom, you got to call his dad. That's what happens. He knows that. So him going around searching for someone to say that that was a good idea is so desperate and insecure, and shows he knows what he's doing.
Yep.
And he knows that he's lost.
Throughout this episode, every single guest that comes on is looking for validation
Right.
for calling Shuli's dad.
The last time I saw anyone try and have a real discussion with him was a year and a half ago when you did a show with him.
Yes.
And what John...
Oh, he didn't like
what
that.
John did was, la, 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 la,
Yeah,
la,
dude,
la.
screaming over me, right? Didn't want to hear it.
That's what happens.
All right, so Sunflower Dragon is also a super chatter. And John doesn't know why Sunflower Dragon doesn't like him anymore. And so Clay reminds him, which is fantastic.
Clay.
Sunflower Dragon, the fake one.
Oh, is it? I don't know. She don't like you anymore.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to happen. You have to use a filter because you were discussing. Oh.
It was the doctor shit. Where were you, Sunflower Dragon?
Where were you, ClayDabbler?
Where were you, ClayDabbler?
With what was it?
Dr. Steve. It was the Dr. Steve shit when you went after Dr. Steve. She used to be a supporter.
Well, but I didn't mean to. I was saying like nobody cared because she was defending this Dr. Steve.
Yeah. So anyone that sort of tried to sort of even sway you against it, you lost it, man, big time. You lost it with me. You lost it. Me and you fell out over it.
Who
You're
cares?
fiery, John. You're fiery.
Who cares?
Again.
So Clay has to remind him, like, yeah, the reason why a lot of people deserted you is because you went after Dr. Steve for no reason, and that was fucked up. Everyone loves Dr. Steve. He did nothing that deserved his life being ruined by you. And John is going, that rings a bell. Dr. Steve, you say, huh? And then they're going through remember you were screaming, where were you, Sunflower Dragon? They're going through the whole thing. John's going, that was me or something? Who cares?
I don't usually yell, but...
Yeah. Even ClayDabbler's like, yeah, remember like you and I stopped being friends over that because it was really fucked up? John's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, who cares?
There's something very similar to Ethan Klein here. They both did the same thing. I remember in that Ethan Klein clip, they were talking about his cold. And somebody chimed in with, well, if you have these symptoms, it probably is not lung cancer. It's probably just A, B, and C. And he said something like, yeah, but this is me, so it's different.
Right.
Meaning, that's fine when everyone else has a cold. This is me. His mind literally cannot, it stops. There's a wall right there. Doxing other people, fine. Doxing me. What the fuck are you all doing? Like the second it was, yeah, but you did things that caused this. Who cares? I mean, who even cares about that? We only care when it happens to me. It's not what I do to other people.
It reminds me of Howard Stern when, and I forget what the interview was, but Howard Stern was the free speech guy against the FCC. And that was like, everyone was rallying with him, like, yeah, free speech. Why are they fining him for what he says? And then he goes to satellite and he doesn't not worry about the FCC anymore and do whatever he wants. And then he was upset with something that someone else said on the airwaves. And the interviewer said, yeah, but I thought you were like for free speech. And Howard goes, I'm for my free speech. And it's like, oh, that's a telling moment. Like, oh, you don't actually have any convictions. That was just like convenient for you at that time. And now the opposite is convenient for you. So now you feel this way about it.
Well, yeah, I was inspired to get personally involved in this political cause as soon as it personally affected me. Right. What do you expect from me any other time? I don't understand what you're talking about.
This is great because there's a question about how John is a failure. And they list all these different failures. And the last one is financially he's a failure. And so John's got to come back for that.
And fail. Really? I got a beautiful house in Cape Coral. I got a beautiful boat, beautiful car, and a beautiful Harley. Fuck you.
So Sunflower Dragon says you failed financially. And John's comeback to that he's failed financially is a boat that doesn't exist, which is crazy. He gives 4 things. One of them is a boat that doesn't exist. The other one's a Harley that's over 20 years old. Mm-hmm. I mean, Harleys are really nice vehicles. Everyone loves their Harley. it's not something that is impossible to achieve in life, to afford a Harley.
Yeah. And he ignored all the other failures that were listed before that.
Yes. Well, yeah. He did read through those, but he's just like, failed financially. I got a boat. You don't, though. You're lying.
You never did.
A couple more clips real quick, and then we'll thank people who are supporting the show. Guys, thanks for sticking around. We're doing a marathon episode of WATP today. So much to get to in the Dabbleverse. So this is Zach Hoffman, who's constantly in these streams, super chatting him, and this did not age well, I have to say.
Zach S. Hoffman, thanks for Fiverr. I got your address from Rocco today, so I'm personally coming over to deliver my special go-away gift to you, YouTube's term service. Yeah, please do. You know, isn't it funny, Chad? They all are big tough guys, but I never seen them here.
Right, yeah. It's one thing to be a keyboard warrior, folks, but it's another thing to show up in person and, you know. Yep.
Look at the noodles.
Clay. Well done. So this is before Chad Zubak showed up at his house and got the police calling on him. Yep. John was just like, come on over. Like you were saying earlier in the show, Adam, about the Pickwick Pub thing. I'm here every day at 3. You want to come and talk to me? You want to fight? Here's where I'll be. And even here, he's going, oh, you know where my address is? Whatever, come on over. As soon as he sees a car parked outside of his house, he calls the cops. He called the cops on Chad. He calls the cops on a car that was parked out front of his house. So it didn't age well at all. Last clip I have on here is ClayDabbler, no longer afraid of John in any way.
Clay, do you want a piece of this shit?
I fucking run circles around you, old man.
Nice. Nice.
Now, I want to point out, so John's getting up and going to use the bathroom or something, but he does look feeble here. Listen to, it sounds like he's kicking cans out of his way on the floor as he's getting up.
Clay, do you want a piece of this shit?
I fucking run circles around you, old man.
There's a lot of shit on the floor. As he turns, he's got to like, get all that stuff out of here. Surprised you didn't hear a cackle. A lot of garbage on the floor you to contest with.
Can we just take a moment to talk about Mr. Chad for a second? Do you remember when we were all discussing before he made his appearance on PDP whether it was an act or whether he was really like that? And
yeah.
I went out on a limb and I said, regardless as to whether he's playing a character, I think he is definitely like that. And everybody told me I was wrong. And then as soon as he got on that PDP and he said a couple words, I saw everyone's eyes go, oh. And then he started talking about how he was really smart because people think he's not smart, but he is really smart. And I thought it was really interesting because I've gotten so much feedback that conflicts. I've gotten people saying, I was totally wrong about him. And look, you were totally right about him. So everybody kind of sees in him, I think, whatever they want to see. And I just love the idea that wherever there's John videos, there's Chad videos. And even right then, when he was putting his arm up and flexing, there was Chad flexing right next to him, like his little mini me right next to him.
Yes.
I like this. There's something very bizarre and strange going on with this man, but I like that he exists, and I like that he is the way he is.
So should we be paying more attention to Clearwater Chad?
Nope, not at all. I think I like that he exists. It doesn't mean I need to get involved personally in
fair enough.
any of that. Because those are long streams. They're very long.
Yeah.
Who are these podcasts?